Way down in Georgia, there lives a strange collection of people. But the tie that binds them is Wrasslemen. And they love to sit around and talk about it. And that's what they fixing to do. Georgia Wrestling History proudly presents the Wrasslemen, a Whoopcast. We got Shane, Brian, Bill, and two Mats. We got a grandpa too, and old Foot and Shard. Yes, you know they finna get right. Here's the Wrasslemen. They talk about the wrestling.
But we're about to drink some cocaine. Let's get it.
Yeah.
That's right. We're the podcast that drinks cocaine. Welcome to the Wrasslemen, a Whoopcast. Hey, guys. It's been a while. I don't think we need to be on a regular schedule. Nothing in this crazy world's regular anymore. We'll talk when we want to talk. And funny thing happened on the way to the bank. We've stumbled into an odd, I'm not going to call it an argument. There was no fisticuffs thrown, but an odd discussion that I did not expect to catch my eye in our Facebook chat this week. But we got on the subject because we were all watching, I guess it was SmackDown, and Uncle Alan had Abyss, Joseph Park, whatever they're going to call him in this iteration, as his statistical analysis expert. And that got us to thinking about the long-held rumor, which I think is essentially been verified in some form or fashion, that at some point during his TNA run, he was set to come in to the WWE to do a program with Undertaker, culminating at least at WrestleMania. And that got some of us on opposite sides of thinking, man, why didn't he take the gig? And others of us saying, well, if you're just going to come in and do a thing with Taker, lose at Mania, and then what will happen to you? Why even bother? And I honestly don't know what side of the fence that I am personally on, because I do see both sides of the argument. So we're just going to hash that out tonight and see what the hell happens. So Shane Marks, you were team stay in TNA because the booking would have been bad. And Myers, I think it was you that brought up the thing in the first place. So Myers, you go first. You tell us why you think, if it was you, why would you have taken that spot to go work Taker at Mania? And I know that sounds like a crazy thing to say already, but go ahead, Myers.
Yeah, my take, the first thing I said out of the gate was that it worked for Foley. And so even though Foley never won, he won the very first match, I think, but I don't think he won anything else after that.
Mm-hmm.
But it made him. I think part of that is because he took that kooky ass bump. But I still feel like that is WWE at that point and forever was so far beyond TNA that even going there and jobbing to Taker at Mania is still pretty good. And I think he would have made a shitload of money. And then probably I felt like Mick Foley was able to parlay that into something. I think Abyss is a pretty smart guy who gets gimmick work.
Well, he's a lawyer.
I was
he's
like,
very
really?
uncomfortable around prayer.
But I could see, because I would have put him into a feud with Kane. It could have spun him off into stuff. Even losing it, if he did a good job and Taker liked him, then I think it could have spun him into something.
Shane, your first rebuttal.
It's not really more of a rebuttal. It's more of a.
God damn it! It's a rebuttal. This is a show.
It's trying to create drama.
Pick your spot, brother.
TNT knows drama.
Characters welcome.
I agree to an extent, but at the same time, I feel like he was already establishing himself, like really just starting to like really come into his own in TNA, and I think I agree with Myers. Foley was one of the exceptions to benefiting off losing to Taker as much as he did, because their matches were so different, especially for that time. But I think with Abyss, like I said in the chat, it's like that was at the time 10 years ago. And I feel like he would be treated as well as he should be, or received as he should be, because it's the age old saying that he's not Vince's creation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because even though Mick Foley established himself as Cactus Jack, Mankind is Vince's creation. So and history dictates that anything that's not Vince's creation is not going to be received well by him.
Well, I mean, if Terry Taylor had played ball, the Red Rooster was going to take off.
Oh, absolutely.
He just didn't know how to strut it.
It's not that I don't think he would have been successful, because I think he would. I absolutely think he would have been. I still think it would be at the magnitude that it should be.
Brian Blaze,
Yo.
if it was you and you're in Abyss's shoes, what do you do? Well, let me walk that back. Let me qualify that, because I know what you're going to say.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't want you to answer this just so you can go to Mania and work Taker to make Jeter mad. That's not the answer I want from you. So remove that from your answer, please, Brian Blaze.
Well, I think that was the worst part about it, honestly, is because, like, he's coming in at WrestleMania to take the L. Like, I would have said, bring me in at Survivor Series, let me cost him there. That way we can have, like, 1 or 2 matches before then and then do the blow-off at Mania. But other than that, it was like, what else he was going to do in TNA in 2006? Like, WWE had, at 2006, the only person they really lost was Kurt Angle. So, like, you still had premier talent there for him to work and do different things. I mean, he could even did the Joseph Park gimmick eventually in WWE. So,
Tootsies, you're right there. You're peeking and sneaking. What do you think?
Not having done the same research that everybody has done, it's just like,
You're not on trial here. Shane is.
oh no, you're fine.
there you go.
No, seriously, like if you've done everything, because I was talking to Bill and Brian about that, and I was like, having them explain everything to me, it made sense. It's like you've already done everything that you can in DNA, and unless you're going to become a trainer, or unless you're going to do something where you're taking everybody else around and trying to push everybody else forward, if you're still kind of focused on your career and your goals, at that point, why would you not put yourself in a position to have a higher experience and then come back? You go to this place, you have that higher experience, you make connections, and then you come back, and all the guys that you like, all the guys that you see potential in, and you take them with you and say, hey, these people who are on a higher platform, these are people that I know you're gonna like. Let me introduce you to them. And that makes sense. But like I said, I didn't do the full research.
She's shaking her ice. That's her banging her gavel. Bill the Butcher, what's your take?
Actually, I have a question first. Who did he end up actually working that year?
That we're gonna get there. The answer is no. You give it to me without that, and then we might talk. That's where I think the interesting part is we'll examine what happens if he does come in based on what Taker had done.
Gotcha. I think that even like the Doom scenario sounds like after the fact. Like, what do they do with him after Taker?
Yep.
And I don't even think you need to worry about that far. I think if the Fed thinks someone is big enough that they can bring him in for Mania with Taker, they're not just gonna go, hey, fuck this guy. They're gonna bring him in. He's gonna look good. Then they're gonna have the match with Taker at Mania. And then honestly, after that, it's all gravy. Even if that's his last night, he's still got the bump. Like,
that is interesting.
I think he missed a golden opportunity.
That is a very interesting way of looking at it, that no matter what happens, because you're right. The argument is obviously going to WrestleMania to work Taker is great. And our thing is, after the fact, what the fuck are they going to do with you?
It's not the same thing as like Sting, who always wasn't 100%, blah, 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 blah. Sting is fucking Sting. Abyss was nobody. And I don't mean nobody I don't mean that to shit on him. But I mean, being big in TNA didn't mean anything to anyone but super wrestling nerds.
Correct. That's very
So,
fair.
like,
Oh, that's a
you put yourself on fucking Mania stage, your name's connected with Taker forever.
yeah. You're always the dude that worked Taker at Mania. So he did. Taker worked Mark Henry
And
that year in 2006.
Uh,
A casket
Because
match.
I went to the Rumble that year and they did the setup with the Chariots.
And so that feels like
Bro.
that is clearly not a marquee thing other than it was Undertaker and the streak and all that business.
Did the streak mean anything by then?
That's the other thing I'm trying to do to
I
figure
think
out.
it did. I think by that time they was like just
because they started really acknowledging it after like 18.
I was going to say 17 or 18. So we're still. Do you mean WrestleMania 17, Shane, or
WrestleMania 18 after you beat Flair? That's when
Okay.
they acknowledged he was like 10-0 at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, and Decade of Destruction. They started putting that on his merch.
Yeah, and I started remembering like 17 and 0, 18 and 0 is where I remember the streak really catching fire. That's really where it got pushed to the moon, so to speak. So we certainly had acknowledged the streak. I don't think it is the streak that we thought of it as a little later. So we were still kind of building up a little bit. So we weren't quite there, but we were certain he was going to lose. There's no getting around that. Here's what I wonder about. So the Mark Henry booking happens for one of two reasons in my mind. Either A, they were going to do this Abyss thing, and it didn't happen for whatever reason. What I'm very interested in is when that talk started, because Brian makes the point that he can't just be a dude that they heat up out of nowhere to come wrestle Taker at Mania. That has to be something they build to, and I don't know when that plan started. The other side of it is, what I know about Taker through everything I've read or heard him talk about is, sometimes Taker's obviously going to do whatever for the company. My God, he wrestled Giant Gonzalez. But
Twice.
He's also a dude who's like, hey, at this point, he certainly was a guy who could say, hey, I want to work with this guy. And that's just going to be that.
Flair didn't even want to work.
Right. And when I see that it's Mark Henry, I could very easily see Undertaker saying, oh, another Texas boy, a guy who's been around here, a guy I like, a guy who's cool and like all those things. If fucking Taker just wanted to do it, then you're really shit out of luck if they've pitched this thing to Abyss, he's agreed to it, and Taker's like, oh, no, I'm working Mark versus Mark. That's what worries me about the timeline of it. If it's 2006, then you really got a problem. And then for 2007, Taker works Batista. So it ain't better than that. Like Abyss isn't happening there either. So that is a very tough thing for him to try. That's a field of landmines to try to navigate, to figure out if you're going to do this thing or not. Shane, why do you, and I know you don't know Abyss, I don't know Abyss, other than the time Gilquest knocked all his pictures down, and I still laugh to no end just thinking about, we're all in the locker room at Georgia Premier or DSC, Georgia Premier by then, and they've got Abyss coming in, and Abyss is going to get ready to set up his gimmick table, and he's got a bunch of headshots sitting around. And Gilquest, I think, probably comes in to do the traditional handshake, and he's stumbling and bumbling, and somehow he knocks Abyss's pictures down. And we all just die. I felt so bad for Gil because we did not offer any support for our friend Gilquest. We just wanted to laugh at our friend Gilquest. And it might have been during the prayer, which made it even better.
That's the thing I was thinking about. Him just not being able to open that door.
Yes.
I was thinking about I refereed that match that night because another referee showed up late. I'm just interjecting that side note.
Grandpa wants to get
Georgia wrestling history, 2-time referee of the year, two-time. Got their match with Abyss.
Grandpa, I didn't mean to skip you earlier, Grandpa. I just thought you were still at the rib section of the Soul Mart. What would you have done? Like, what do you think was Abyss's best move? To stay or to go? He did stay. What do you think you would have done?
I evidently didn't think WWE could push him well enough to get him over to where it would be worth it to go there and to have a history there. So kind of agree with him. You know, if you don't have any confidence in the company to get you over and to sustain you, why join the rest of the ranks that they push for a minute, bury, and you never see again?
So, Myers,
Yes, sir.
do you think, obviously you're in Camp Go, do you think that they would have gotten him to a place where he would have been over enough? And furthermore, the things Abyss is good at are not necessarily the things that WWE was doing then. Like they might have done them years ago, but all some of the blood and the gore and stuff, they had shied away from some of that then. And I think that there is a giant size discrepancy height-wise with Abyss and Undertaker. Do you think they would have gotten him? What do you think would have happened if he went?
And my assumption is because he had the mask that looked kind of Foley-esque, which is why I used Foley as the example. I think they were going to try to recreate the wheel double. I think because they would have had to heat him up really quick, and so I think that they looked and were like, okay, so he's like Foley, so that's good already. And they probably would have had to make it a very personal thing really quick, like Kane, where they're like, oh, this is another part of his mythos. This was the guy who was whatever. I think they would have had to heat him up really quickly with storyline to be like, oh shit, I want to see this now. I don't need to see him beat a bunch of people and then build up to each other. I want him to just go ahead and be hot now. So I think they would have gone in with personal.
That's a good point, because as soon as Kane debuts, you're ready for him to fight the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Like, bang. Like let's get it going. Look, that's a good point. Shit, I'm trying to make a decision here. I don't know. Brian Blaze. So Abyss does stay because whatever reason, but the thing that I look at that bears it out for me is ultimately, I think Abyss just saw himself as a TNA guy.
I was about to say you're now breaking this question down into two parts. Like, is it good for the fans if Abyss stayed?
I don't care about them.
Good for Abyss, huh?
I don't care about them. I don't give a shit about them.
Boo, fans.
Talk about no damn fans.
Because you're asking if it would have been entertaining for the fans, or if it would have been a good career move for Abyss.
Yes, but I'm trying to figure out his motivation, because again, on the surface level, if I just say to you, there is interest from the WWE to bring you into Mania to wrestle Undertaker, your first instinct is, okay, what time do I get on the plane?
Like that's a big payday.
Like what time do I, like there's no walking back from that, but he didn't go. So something else has to come into play, or the rumor's not as real as it has been purported to be, but it's been reported by a lot of people, and I'm trying to remember if I have been a fly on the wall for a conversation where someone was discussing this, and I feel like I have, so I feel pretty good about at least there being some real truth to it. But Brian, what I was going to say,
throw a hypothetical out that I'm curious
get in there,
about?
Bill.
Shane, what do you think happens? Like, so he goes. What do you think happens? Like, what's the fallout? What's the bad part?
For me, the bad part is I'd say, depending on where they put him, Raw, SmackDown, whatever. Because no, Taker's just Taker. But I think Taker was like SmackDown during that time, right?
Yeah, I think he was SmackDown for most of it.
Yeah. So he goes to Mania, lose to Taker. They can run that until SummerSlam, maybe Survivor Series, depending on how hot they make it and sustain it. The thing is, I feel like depending on when they bring him in before they get to Mania, if they hot shot it a month before Mania, then the concern for me would be, how do you keep the momentum going after that? Who do you put me with next?
I think, okay, so my question, what I mean though, is like, so he stayed at TNA, he did stuff TNA. Honestly, I'm ignorant of it because I never really watched it, so I don't know how good he did. But what stops him at that point from just going back to TNA?
At that point, I don't know. Like, I don't know, like, mindset-wise, I wouldn't know.
I could see them putting him on like a 3-year deal and then letting him sit there for 2 years.
Yes, that
Yeah.
would be very
I could see
possible.
that.
That'd be the one concern there too, because you
But even
bring a guy in, he can do great for a year, and then all right, creative had nothing for you for a while. Chill on the side for a minute. We'll figure it out.
yeah.
And then they just never figure it out.
But even at that point, wouldn't his downside be better than what he made in TNA?
Probably. So again, all that is probably the truth. Like it's a no-brainer from a exposure standpoint, a financial standpoint, a prestige standpoint, but something made him stay. And I'm wondering, so Brian, you're a PCW guy. There's no getting around it. You're the fucking champ right now. You're the dude. And all of us are, except for Foot, who hates me. But at any rate, I just wanted to see her face. I just wanted to see her stupid face.
Nina, you're not the only one who's never won a championship there. You're not.
But like you know what that thing is like to have a home where you are needed, and there is no getting around that time for Abyss. He was in that 2006 to 2008 window. He was the TNA at the time. He was the NWA heavyweight champion. Like, what do you put that into the mix, Brian? Is it as easy to leave when you belong to a company and you're dyed in the wool, a TNA guy? How does that change how you think about this thing?
Well, that's what he said. I just read it. He confirmed it on JR's podcast. And like the only reason he gave was like it was just so hot at the moment. There was no he couldn't leave him high and dry.
Yep.
But also we talking about the wrong WrestleMania because they said it was WrestleMania 07, not WrestleMania 07 that day he was on Wrestle Taker. So
is that
Batista, yeah.
So, okay, so that's the Batista thing. All right.
Yeah,
So
you said he would have showed up at Rumble and then had the match.
Oh God. So it's a pretty short heat up time. It's three-ish months to get
That's
hot.
about 3-4 months right there. Yeah.
So there's a little more lead. Again, that's one more in the camp of go do it. But he was on TNA that was their chance. And I think that's probably the thing that weighed the heaviest is that was their chance to make it.
Question: When did Hogan them come in? Hogan and Bischoff, was that 08?
They
I thought that
were
was like 10.
Mick Foley came in 08.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hogan came a little after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Christian is here at this point. He had just gotten there. So again, it had to feel to him as if this is our shot. And it was their shot. Like this is the hottest they had been on a national stage at TNA. And I would imagine that things felt pretty good there then. He was working the program with James Mitchell. They were doing that thing. He was the champion. He's building for this giant Monsters Ball match. And like at that time, the whole company was built around Abyss. He
was their homegrown guy.
Yes.
Their homegrown monster.
They got Kurt in 06 too. So that may have helped.
So he's just fucking Joe was there too.
Yeah, they're on fire. It's extremely hot right then. And not to be remiss, Tyson Tomko, he's there. Tyson Tomko's there.
Kind of thing. So leave behind all the financial stability. Leave behind all of that. Leave behind all of those logical arguments on a passion thing. If this was somebody that I was looking up to, and I finally get the chance to work them in front of a large crowd, why would I not jump at that chance?
And you wouldn't be wrong to do it, but the counter is Mama called, and he knew that this place that he had helped build would be fucking hurt. They'd be destroyed without him. Like that would have been a giant loss for them at that time.
I can hear a different theory too, where like he was going to be that drummer that quit right before the Beatles made it.
Also very true. Like if a break goes here or there for them, and things are a little different, and he's the guy that went to lose to Taker at Mania, and then sat on the shelf for 3 years. And
Taker.
huh?
I'm the guy who lost the Taker.
Sure, but there's a lot of those guys. So Nathan Jones was supposed to be the guy that worked with Taker. Didn't work out for him. So that gets me to the next thing of, well, all of us are wrestlers and we love Taker, and WrestleMania with Taker is insane. But that list is not sparkling of the dudes that worked with him that weren't already established. I'll run it down for you if I can find a better way. So first, Superfly. No, who gives a shit about that?
Jake Roberts.
Well, shit, Shane, you may not need me. Giant Gonzalez. I forgot I got 2 fucking encyclopedias on here.
Diesel wasn't next.
You white and brown.
Next, we go to
Bundy.
Bundy.
Just run it, Shane. Shit.
Yeah, you just go. I'll back you up. If you get lost, I'll like we always do. If you get sideways, just feed to the corner. I'll tell you what's up.
Okay, brother. Where we at? 12?
Yes.
Diesel, Sid, Kane, Bossman. 17 was Triple H.
Wait, Bossman was Mania?
15. Yep.
Yeah.
God damn.
That
Okay.
that shitty Hell in the Cell when he hung his ass.
We hung him.
Oh, that was that one too? Jesus. Okay.
Literal shit.
But here's the thing.
What was it? Where was I?
17.
Mac
Triple
got
H.
Mm-hmm.
Flair.
it first time.
19 was Big Show, A-Train.
And that was
20
supposed to be the Nathan
Kane.
Jones spot, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a tag.
Let's see.
Come on.
Was,
I
then
got
it
faith
was-
in you, brother.
we were
It's a
20,
repeat.
20 was Kane.
There you go.
21 was Randy. 22, Mark Henry. We just talked about that. 23, Batista. 24, Edge.
Woo.
25, Shawn. 26, Shawn. 27, 28, Triple H.
Don't say
29, Punk.
woo.
30, Brock.
And you're also looking at it like.
And what about 31?
Instead of them working with them.
31. Oh, 31 was the big dog, wasn't it?
The best match.
Wait, no.
Or it might have been
31
32 or no. Bray, then the big dog.
Yeah. Dan Cena.
He did hit the whole list. I'll give him his credit on that.
Yeah.
So the point being, Abyss certainly looks a lot more like Bossman, Gonzalez, Bundy, those cats, than he does Triple H, Randy Orton, Batista, Shawn Michaels. So the evidence is there that losing to Taker at Mania is not necessarily the launching point that we would expect it to be based on the event and the talent that he's working against. And I still don't, I think I'm in the camp of, I think he made the right decision overall, because I don't think it works out other than his bank account. Like purely financial is the only upside I see to it.
The fall offs though, I think have a lot of other factors. Give me those names again.
So, but King Kong Bundy, Giant Gonzalez, Boss Man, and Super Snooker doesn't count. Those would be the glaring ones.
Yeah.
A-Train and Big Show.
The thing there too, I feel like all of those names are ones that were already like Bundy came back for that, and he was way past.
Sure.
And then Boss Man was nothing. See, I feel like this would have worked more like a Kane thing, because like you said, they would have had to throw him in hot. So I think it would have been a lot more akin to Kane, who got made by that.
He was 33. He was 33 at that point. So entering in his like prime years.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe I'm clouded by the current, or the last decade of WWE booking. That could be clouding my judgment on how things were operating then as well. I don't trust them to have gotten him hot. Certainly, if they had gone down the road and they could have figured out how to get him over as Kane, that would have worked. I feel like that is a further stretch than banking on TNA to be a viable thing. I mean, shit, they're still around somehow. I don't know how that even exists, but they are still around. And, playing on the fact that, and, at some point he was supposed to take the book there. I think he might have. So he was he was their guy, and that's always going to play to my sensibilities. Like, man, I respect the dude that stayed, much in the same way that we say that about Taker. I respect that dude more because he stayed. And there's a value in that is not financial, but there's certainly a value in it.
Just saw something else. In 2006 was also the start of the poorly ran WWE ECW. So you think
Which is
that
exactly where he would have been. That's exactly where
Mike
he
Knox
would
is
have
in
gone
everything.
to.
Mike Knox, I win. Mike fucking Knox.
Well, I can tell you just turned Bill.
I
I was
mean,
just hung up.
I think it depends on, because I only know some of Abyss, but I don't really know. I think it would have depended a lot on what he can do as a guy. Because if he can get himself over and Taker likes him and he has a good match with him, then Taker's like, cool.
You're the one. Without question, Myers. Without question, you're right. And I think also for me, the thing that sticks in my craw the most is what happens when the old man gets told about this guy Abyss, and he says, let's do it, and everybody's on board. And then Abyss walks in, and he stands there with Taker. Brian, you're lickily split on this research. Can you get me a height check on Abyss?
Yeah,
I've been with him, and he didn't seem that much taller than Jeter to me. When Vince sees that discrepancy of both of them wearing their gear, and
oh no,
6'8" build.
him and Jeter are the exact same height.
well, so he's 6'8", so Taker's got a legitimate 3-ish inches on him. I worry that the old man freaks the fuck out and thinks he's been sold a bill of goods, and the whole thing just gets shitted right up. That really worries me, because the thing with Kane is he can look him eye to eye pretty much, and that helps that tremendously. I just worry that it's so, and Abyss is a big guy, but he is not a Vince built guy. And I don't even like, not in the way that Vince made him, but like, he's just not built like the guys that Vince likes. He's not a gargantuan like Bundy or Bastion Booger.
But he's like Foley do it. I really do think Foley is the key here. They're like, he looks like Foley, except he's bigger. Vince, you gotta see this guy. He's like Foley, but he's just bigger. He does all the hardcore stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I think you're right, Myers. If that's not the pitch, if whoever's pitching that is not pitching it exactly like that, then I think the whole thing's fucked. If they
Maybe he was the person to hang the ECW flag on.
Yeah.
Like, the one thing that Abyss was great at was the Monster Ball match in that Black Hole Slam. And like, if they could have got him over with Taker in that one match and then debuted him Tuesday on ECW into whatever match and put the title on him, then it's like, okay, I can see where they're going with that.
How does that change the shape of that ECW if this monster Abyss is the face of it, and they tailor things to him rather than trying to force a Bobby Lashley or a CM Punk or a Rob Van Dam, into that role? Like, if they have Abyss, they got to use Abyss.
Right. They have the guy to run ECW with. Like, they do all the crazy stuff with him. He could have been
in my brain. I feel like he replaces Big Show.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Maybe.
And does Donald Trump represent him at WrestleMania?
But that was going to be the next place I went. Like, what the fuck do we get Abyss versus Umaga with Trump and Mania?
Without Trump and McMahon, Abyss and Umaga, that seems interesting.
I'd watch Abyss and Umaga for sure. Shit, now I'm swayed back the other way. Fuck, I hate this. I like
not to mention, I could pretty easily see them bringing in Foley to manage him,
or to heat him up.
I thought they were on that, but I thought they were like WB and Foley were on bad terms at that time. Weren't they?
That's when he went to TNA, right?
2008. So a year later, he went to TNA.
Okay. And man, wow, that's a tough one. All right, final verdict. Has anybody been swayed to the other side?
Nah.
I say stay, not stay, but go to WWE
and then come back.
Be ECW champ for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I
Mike
can
Johnson
understand better
notwithstanding.
now, thinking that because he had that run with the NWA belt,
Mhm.
and maybe that's the reward for hanging out. Like, look, you stay here, you're going to be world champion. You're never going to be world champion there. You go
Yeah.
there, they're not going to put the belt on you. And so, if you're a Mark and I am, I would be like, NWA belts, the belt Ronnie Garvin held.
The belt Ron Killings held?
Yeah. I'd mark out for that shit.
I can tell you something. You ain't gonna never get suplexed by Toby Keith in the fucking WWE. That I can guarantee you. And obviously, the thing none of us talked about, you're not gonna get to fuck Vince, but you might get to fuck Dixie.
Yeah. That's a good call.
Well, maybe.
Well, you know what? Shane Marks,
I think
my
you should-
closest companion, you have set me up perfectly. We have a tradition around here when we get out of this thing. We always ask our good friend Tiger Mask to take us home. But tonight, out of respect and honor for a true legend's passing, Kamala, take us home.
Yo, bro, Kamala here. Ooh-wee. Thinking back when I was in the former WWF, all the things that went on. Ooh-wee. I was just like the floor sweeper, the janitor, who you could just talk over his head and it would never be picked up. But let me tell you something. I remember it all. You kept me broke when I know I put asses in the seats. But you paid your lovers, the one that go meet to meet. Your drug test a sham. You let who you want pass. Now Steve been there for 25 years. A damn sure piece of ass. I saw you one time put your head in Rikishi's ass. Now that was on national TV. Everybody saw that. They sure did. But I could tell that you felt at home the long it lasts. Push it and pull it. Push it and pull it. The fat little Benny starts screaming like a girl. Push it. You know that's what he like. Now he like that. Just be obedient. Do what the man tell you if you want your job. Now I wrestled old Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior so many times. They stopped believing that wrestling was real. Steroids had blown their mind. Now if you don't like what I'm saying, we don't need no ring. It's Kamala time now. Time for me to make a scene. No more tackles. No more leapfrogs. No more bear hugs. No more arm drags. Drop down, get it again. No more top rope. No more headbutts. No more time to go home. Stay and fight like a man. Push it and pull it. Push it and pull it. The fat little Benny starts screaming like a girl. Push it. They thought I was dumb and tried to talk over my head. I remember one night the Brooklyn Brawler and Pat went to bed. I ain't lying. They checked in right next door to me. They sure did. So late that night, I tried to get a little sleep. I heard the Brawler tell Pat, I'm gonna rock your world. Few minutes later, oh, Pat starts screaming like a girl. Whoa, push it, ram it, push it, shove it. If I had gone round back, I could have made $1 million. It don't turn me on to hear a damn man holler, whoa, push it hard. You know, there were good opportunities in the former WWF back in the day, and I don't think it has changed, only the name to protect the innocent. There were bright lights, plenty of mud packing. Oh yeah, and if you wanted a job, all you have to do is just bring your good pair of knee pads and your steroids. If you want to look good for a short time, let them know you're trying to please. That's one of their requirements. Don't worry about passing the drug test, because if you're liked by WWF officials, then you're in. Why I didn't do it? Because I didn't want my body deteriorating. And what worked for you may not work for me. You know what I mean? You know, it make you do things when you're on that stuff, like kill yourself and other people's. Okay, I think I've said enough. I don't mean any harm, nothing personal against anybody. Okay, you guys take it easy now. Be careful. Love you, brothers. You gotta push it like this, pull it like that. You got to pack all of that mess, push it, and pull it. Push it, and pull it. Okay, look, I gotta get up out of here. I gotta get back in the old truck. I'll see y'all later. Y'all take care now. Bye-bye.